My name is Ian Borland. I am the happy snappy chappy. Hello world. Photography expands my world and makes me more observant. Through the lens I can see things I never noticed, and I can zoom in on far off details. I can peer inside flowers or marvel at the structure of an insect's eye. I can look back on places and scenes I have visited and enjoy the nostalgia of reliving that moment. It gets me out. It makes me think and puzzle out how to take the best shot. It pushes me to educate myself not only about photography, but unlimited new subjects. It teaches me to be patient and wait for the shot or the light. It is social. It helps me meet people and share my interests and pictures. It helps to try and exercise my creative side, discovering new techniques and mastering old ones. For all my endeavours, all I do is click a little button. What I see is my own unique view. What is seen is just a reflection of God's awesome reality. So happy snappy chappy, what's that about then? Well, photography was kind of always a part of my life, and here are some early photos of me. That's me there, the little tyke in the cadet uniform, and this is me later when I went to Leith Nautical College to study electronics. I also use photography as part of my work too, and I'm afraid I don't have any examples because it's a long time ago now. Bear in mind I am just coming up for 61. This was when I was about 32 and I became a trainer in an IT company, teaching people, engineers, to fix computers and electronic point of sales, and I would draw things like this laser printer here. Later I went on to develop what I call multimedia. So this is a video studio that I built. That there is a mixer and multiple screens, computer here, video camera, and started to develop videos and internet materials back in the days when it was still a black art, long before we had the sophisticated screencasting technology that I use today, as well as being part of my hobbies like diving and amateur botany. I also liked scrapbooking. So I take pictures on holiday and also gather postcards and maps and put them into scrapbooks as a memento. And I enjoy doing that. Which led to my first book, really, because I eventually became a commercial diver. That's me in there. And I photographed everything in sight. And I typed it up every evening. And then at the end of the course, after 3 months, I compiled it into a book because we'd had a lot of adventures. This was us at Fort Bovisand, and it was a nice change to get out of the office. That's me there. And that's me there. And I'm taking this picture, but I did get in the pressure pot and we did a dry dive. As we go down, this balloon gets smaller, and as we come up, the balloon gets larger. We also had to do underwater tasks, and I saw some wildlife, etc. We met people like Ray Ives, who was one of our instructors, and he must have done some of the earliest dives of, gosh, anybody alive. And he collected all this stuff from the sea bottom over goodness knows how many years. Cannons and shells, and I'm not talking seashells, I'm talking unexploded artillery shells, knives, swords, doubloons, pieces of 8, the works. So it was a real pleasure to get invited back to his home and see the diving museum he has under his home in a big double garage. And it was fascinating like that. We also met George the Dolphin, who, believe it or not, foiled a dual heist by getting in the way of the ferry on which some thieves were trying to escape. And this dolphin went rogue, came over from the Channel Islands apparently, went to Weymouth and Swanage, and then ended up in Plymouth about 100 miles down the coast, where we bumped into. I'd already swum with the same creature in Weymouth, and recognise it by the scars that it carries from trying to mate with passing motorboats, because it's one messed up beast. Then one day I shot this picture, and to be perfectly honest with you, I really hadn't realised that my pocket camera could take such a nice shot. And it's not perfect, but it was an eye-opener for me, because up till that point I had been just a happy, snappy chappy. I hadn't thought to cross-pollinate my two hobbies of botany and photography until that point. And I realised I wanted to take my photography to another level. Coincidentally, things went digital. Now, I was already into computers, so this was a fantastic open door opportunity for me. Suddenly, everything was so much easier. I still wasn't at all technical. I just point and click, and sometimes I got lucky. The more I practiced, the luckier I got. So I'd show people my photos and they'd go, "These are brilliant." And I'd say, "Nah, I'm just a happy, snappy chappy." Then, after a long absence, I moved back to Scotland after living in Wales and England, and started to reacquaint myself with the local area with fresh eyes. So I created my first photo book, Scenes of Kinross-shire. Then I got my first DSLR camera and joined Kinross Camera Club. So what do? Well, I'm a self-employed freelancer. I do IT projects and tutorial work, for example, websites, IT training and coaching, videos, transcription, e-learning, presentations, photography, etc. I also have several personal projects on the internet, such as my happysnappychappy.com, where you can find examples of my photography and some of my projects, and also some things that I experiment with, like machinima, as they call it, which is screencasting in virtual worlds, and also videos and animations, etc. I also created Flora of Kinross-shire because I'd photographed just about every wildflower I could find, and some fungus and ferns and trees and things, and put that together. It's a very ambitious project, but I think I've covered quite a lot, and a lot of people said it's a good site and there's lots of interest. I also did one called freebiestalker.com because in the course of my life on the internet, I found lots of ways to get free stuff, and some of it is really going to surprise you. Things like the Worldwide Telescope is absolutely superb. I've even met astronomers that hadn't come across it, and it's a fantastic site. And then there's things like bonus points, discount codes, affiliate earnings, tutorials, websites, all kind of freebies. So I've put that together as a thing called the Awesome Book of Free Stuff. I've just taken that website down, but I can still have that book available on my website. I currently have 3 cameras, and this comparison page is on my website, so you can zoom in and see the difference between them. Although they're slightly different shots, a lot of them are the same flowers. I have a Panasonic Lumix compact camera that goes in my belt pouch, so that's always with me, because somebody said, if you don't have a camera with you, you're not a photographer. And I thought, yeah, point taken. So that goes everywhere with me. My favourite camera is my Sony Alpha, which is a digital single lens reflex camera. And I also have a Fujifilm FinePix Bridge, which is great for having a 100 times zoom, which is half digital and half physical. So it's done half by lenses and half by digital amplification. Not so keen on that one because it doesn't have a manual focus. So some subjects just will not focus, such as trying to shoot things in trees. It will focus on the branches and not the thing. So at the moment that's broken and I've never got around to fixing it, but the digital SLR I love. You can see that comparison page on happysnappychappy.com. I've always liked to capture unusual subjects and plants. The more unusual, the better. Like this rock lion having a poo. And I love flowers and plants. Now there's a lesson in every photograph, and in this one you'll see that in the shade the colours are more realistic, because in the bright sunshine you're getting too much UV, which is blowing out the colours. So if you're photographing colours in bright sunshine, it might be an idea to try deliberately casting a shadow over the flower. I also like to make animated GIFs, such as this shot of the waterfall over at Falkland, and edit those together for animations to put on the web and things like that. And I also have a wacky sense of humour, so I photographed bizarre things like this lift I saw marked Schindler. This was in Germany, and I captioned that Schindler's Lift. I like to catch funny things too if I observe these, such as these blackberries here and these family bananas. I like crazy signs. And I did laugh out loud when I saw this, because is it somebody's put up obviously it's a Fleming's truck that's pulled up in this gap between the houses. But I just was sitting in this room and glanced up and saw this. And this was the view from my home office window, and of course the sign instantly grabbed my attention, and I thought, is this a sign that's been put up as a social comment that everybody who lives here are lemmings, or is it, on the other hand, some kind of mobile van selling lemons or supplying lemons? Either way, just the surrealness just appealed to my crazy sense of humour. I also like to do amusing edits. My friend Mark, also known as Inky, is a refrigeration engineer. He loves his dogs. Recently he got a new one and took him out on his van on a job. He said later that the dog is now going to be his apprentice. So I did this for him because he has little bulldogs. Oh, Inky, I think I see the problem, matey. Pass us this long-nosed flyers, will ya? I can't reach the sausages. And I get a lot of ideas from Facebook, like our local publicans Grant and Lisa, who posted this shot of them in a mobile planetarium. And there's what I did with it. Or my friend Derek Evans, whose wife Tracy said, "Derek, looking a bit Vincent van Gogh among the sunflowers." So I did this to it. I added some more sunflowers and added a Van Gogh sky, and put it onto a texture to resemble a canvas, and then signed it, as it's Derek Evans, Evan Gogh. Well, searching for a photo of the venue for Kinross Camera Club, which is in this church hall here, I found my mum on a Google Street Map. Now, what are the chances? So there's my mum, probably just been to have her hair done, and she's going up the road wondering where she's going to get the shopping. And I did this to it. Now, it's a rough and quick edit, but it's just for fun. I shot these at St Andrew's Botanic Gardens in Fife, so I added the label Fife's Bananas, and obviously it's a misspelling of FY, FFE. And doing things like the Invisible Man mowing. I did want to do a series of these, and then it just petered out after the first couple. You also might have seen Arthur Bell on the side of a jug, and somebody said I looked like him, so I took a photograph, and again, I think I need to do more with that to make it more like him, but I did hope that Arthur Bell might sponsor me to do some of their adverts. Never mind. I like to caption vintage photos like this one, unaware of the professor's penchant for practical jokes. Seymour had unwittingly fallen for the old super glue on the neuroscope gag. Sometimes I just like to do things that are different, like this photograph. I actually had this in mind when I set out to do this. I don't usually have an idea and then take a photograph to suit, but this one I did want to do, and it came out exactly as I wanted it. And I really don't know why I felt inspired to make this, but that's what I wanted to do. And things like making a Lego me was just fun to try. And there's a website where you can actually upload a photograph and it'll do that for you. And then finally, somebody had taken a photograph of me at the camera club, and I used the GIMP editor to convert that into a line drawing. And I found a guy who, just coincidence really, but I just wanted to try it, found a guy who has a laser burner who can cut those into wood. And somebody had made me this lovely bowl. And I thought as a memento I would put my picture on the bowl just to see if it could be done. So this is a photograph of me made into a line drawing, put into a laser burner and burned onto a wooden bowl. So that's just an example of some of my ideas and inspiration as the happy, snappy Chappy. Thanks for watching.